Over the years, cotton production practices have evolved, becoming more sustainable and technologically advanced, making the United States a global leader in the cotton industry. Cotton remains an important cash crop, supporting millions of jobs in communities of all sizes and contributing significantly to the nation's exports. Now, with all of that said, planted acres are down to near 2016 levels, and the price has hovered between 80 to 90 cents a pound since the crop was planted. And of course, we all know that you can't grow a crop without moisture. And that's one situation that cotton producers across the Southwest have faced, including Jackson County, Oklahoma's Matt Muller. Matt, thanks for going on with us this morning. How is the crop across your area?
It started off looking good. We had challenges getting stands with hailstorms and one heavy rainfall event in isolated areas, but we got off to a very good start, and operating on the potential with El Nino bringing moisture in to break the drought, we were very optimistic early on. But as the summer wore on and the temperatures continued to climb and stay high and the rain never showed up, we just were on a slow burn from about mid-July on. And so now most all the cotton in the area has been failed. If it didn't fail, it is a salvage operation, barely covering harvest cost for the most part. Unless you were an isolated pocket that got a pop-up shower or two, then it might be a tick above that. But it's a very bad crop, following last year's bad crop.
How many acres did you wind up planting?
Our family ended up planting a little over 4,000 acres.
And you're probably not going to be able to harvest much, if any of it?
We're going to maybe harvest half of it, because like I said, it's the yield potential that's out there is, we hate to leave that behind in the field, but the cost to go harvest that is about exactly what's out there. So we're debating on how to efficiently, if possible, scavenge off what's left out there. There's not much out there.
As the growing season was going along, were you seeing much insect or disease pressure in the plants?
Disease pressure was light because it was a dry year. It was not a conducive environment for, we didn't have moisture to spread disease. Insect pressure, it was fair. I mean, we had some thrips pressure early on, not bad. We did have some flea hopper pressure. A lot of people experienced a very bad year last year and was prepared for another rough year, and therefore controlling insects was not their top concern. Unfortunately, we probably stuck with our optimism for a good crop longer than a lot of people, and so we put a fair amount of input for side dressing and killing insects in hopes that the rainfall was going to show up, but it never did. We did have two farms that had some well water, and in the fall, stink bug pressure started coming up. It's a growing concern, the amount of stink bug pressure we're starting to see in the fall of the year in the crop anymore.
Whenever it comes to rotating your land, you're in the process actually right now of planting wheat and rye. What just to keep the soil together, just right ahead of another potential rain? I know there's a guarded optimism whenever it comes to forecasting weather, but moving forward, will you bring back cotton into those fields again this next year?
Yes. Now some of it we do have a set rotation on some of our non-irrigated farms where, about a third of our acres any one given year will rotate to grain sorghum or milo. But then in between, if we're not going to a grain sorghum rotation, we always incorporate a wheat or rye or oats cover off season in the winter months for soil health and erosion control.
What lessons have you learned from the 23 crop and even before that you're going to carry on into the 24 crop?
So basically we've let me give you some perspective. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. And so either farmers in this area experienced that either in the prime of their career or as they were growing up. And that shaped what they thought normal was. The 1980s and 90s were a super cycle as far as wetness. We experienced normal rainfall throughout that 20-year period pretty consistently. And we thought that was normal. Now we're normal, back to the dry things my grandfather and great-grandfather experienced. And we live right on the verge. You know, if you go every 10 miles you go east of the rainfall rapidly picks up on an average. And it drops off rapidly going west and is shifting around. But anyway, we have learned because in the last 12 years, half the time we're killing crops because of lack of rainfall. And that is not sustainable. So one, we have got to have these fields covered with some kind of residue to protect them, knowing the crop we plant may not protect much. We have shifted source inputs to time, last minute, trigger seeing crop nutrient replacements, insect control, because we can't afford to front load everything anymore because the risk of failure has become so great. So we've shifted a lot of the burden to getting our crop inputs in season as long as we, which also means we have a lot of very narrow windows to hit that. So it's a challenge trying to accomplish that and have the resources lined up to hit those windows.
Well, Matt, thanks for going on with us to talk about the 23 crop, and here's hoping that you get the rain forecasted for this week and it helps recharge the land.
Thank you very much. We are anticipating it. We've been praying and asking for it, and I hope it shows up this week.